right, we need base runners. Let's go.
Welcome into the podcast, Brian Beers. Nice
Hello.
to have you.
Thanks for having me.
Yeah, super excited. Good to see you again, Charlie. It's been a minute.
Yeah, great to see you, David.
Off season's officially over. We're back.
We're back.
Man, we've had official practices indoors, and we're getting ready. And those nice days really get you jacked up, don't they? Because you're like, oh, it's right around the corner.
Yeah.
Yeah, so we're real excited for our season to begin, but we're excited for this year of our podcast too. Of keep bringing guests in and players, coaches, umpires. We're just going to keep bringing you people because we've had really good response to this, and so I'm really excited to have Brian in today. He's got experience. He's a good high school player. Went through the JUCO ranks. Played at a 4-year school. Did some summer league stuff. So. There's a lot of things I think we can pick up and learn from him today. So I'm excited to do it. And Brian, thanks again for being willing to do it. And why don't you just start by telling us, let's go with what's your first memory of baseball and when do you remember getting into it?
First memory of baseball, probably 9 years old. I was playing with Rico Battery, Walker Park in Fayetteville. I don't know what age it started, but teams were just whoever sponsored them at that age. And I was terrible, but it was fun being outside. I remember that much. It was fun being outside and trying to hit the baseball.
Yeah.
Trying to hit the baseball. Yesterday I sent a thing out to our team on GroupMe because I was just reminiscing. I had a memory pop up on my phone, and it was my son at 7 years old at Walker Park. Hitting like probably one of the first times he ever hit a ball and run to first base, and just to look back now and see where he's at now, it's silly how fast it goes and how much you can grow over 5 years. Yeah,
I'm really glad
Walker
that
Park's getting taken down.
it is. I was going to say I'm really glad that my son got to play out there at Walker Park, which is such a site of Fayetteville baseball history.
Yeah,
but yeah, they're gonna tear it all down. Everything's out at Kessler now.
and Kessler's a beautiful park.
But it
I do
doesn't
some
have all the
umpiring over
history.
there.
Yeah. Walker Park it's too bad, but
Yeah.
Kessler's nice too.
So you got out there, you were doing FYB, you're playing for all kinds of companies' names on your shirts.
Yeah.
We remember those days too. When did you start really saying, hey, I kind of want to play, baseball a little more serious? 9, 10, 11, 12? What do you remember about it?
I remember I was pretty serious just on like every sport up until 9th grade. Like I did track in junior high, football in junior high, played baseball, played basketball until like 7th grade or so. But in 9th grade, that was summer when football started to really get serious. So we were having like 2-day practices. We'd show up at 6 or 7 in the morning. And I wasn't really too happy about waking up that early for football, but I didn't mind doing it for baseball. And there's a lot of times where football would interfere with baseball. So at that point, I just kind of decided to pick baseball over football and go to those practices. I was just having more fun, I think.
Yeah.
It wasn't like a desire to play professional at that age. It was just fun.
Fun, yeah. You just preferred it over other sports.
Yeah.
How long did you play FYB? What was your experience into travel baseball? How big of a thing was that back then for you?
I played FYB, I think until I was 18. I don't know if you count Senior Babe Ruth as FYB, but then I played the City League baseball until I was 18, so from 9 to 18. But I got involved in travel ball, I want to say 12 years old, my first team. It was the Black Diamonds, coached by Darren Strange out of Farmington. We were AA. Did some tournaments out in Oklahoma, some in Fayetteville, Northwest Arkansas, Fort Smith. It was just a lot of fun because I'd never gotten to play that much baseball before. We'd be playing 2 or 3 days a week for months. So it was a blast getting into competitive baseball. A lot of friends too.
At that point, when a lot of friends and travel excitement, what positions were you playing? Say 12 when you first got into travel ball. You're on a better team, but what did they have you doing, and what did you enjoy the most?
I pitched and played short for the most part. I think I may have caught a little bit, but yeah, it was either pitching or shortstop. Bounced between those two. Really, from the ages of 11 to 18, probably.
Well,
yeah, pitching short and catcher. Yeah.
So when you went, you played baseball in high school, correct? For Fayetteville.
Yep.
Up to that point, did you feel that you had prepared yourself, or were you ready for it? What was your expectations coming into like the tryouts, and then looking back, what would you say to someone that's maybe staring at that in the next year or so?
Definitely feeling like there was an obvious difference between the kids who had been like taking it seriously, thinking about their high school goals earlier. Because like I didn't really think about it too seriously. I was just having fun playing baseball. But remember, that was a pretty big thing to me. Like you could definitely tell the different calibers of players at that point because there's a lot more trying out for a lot fewer spots. So maybe if I could just commit earlier, I think that would have helped too.
so was it a difference in physicality, size, or skill?
More skill, a little bit of physicality, because there's always some kids, like in junior high, they hit their growth spurt and they're just bigger than everybody else. But, it evens out. But at that point, it was just definitely more skill. Like you could tell who's more comfortable fielding a backhand or throwing across, things like that. The little details.
Yeah. But it's not the only way to make them and thrive in high school, because you did it, maybe starting a little air quote later than some of the other kids. So what gave you the edge on that? What put you in that position to be successful, even though you had started serious a little later?
I think just always being a pretty athletic kid. Always enjoying playing in the dirt, I guess. Like I liked the feeling of doing a workout and getting pushed really hard from an early age. So junior high football workouts at 14 and 15 years old, I started to really enjoy it. And so the practice or the work never felt like that much work to me, I guess. So the practice was just a lot of fun, so I didn't dread going to it. And so I think that helped, just not, getting tired of baseball.
Right. And you probably had you were probably pretty athletic.
Yeah, definitely was one of the more athletic kids.
Strong and fast.
Yeah.
Makes a difference.
Yeah, I had good parents that fed me pretty good growing up, and they were both very active too, so definitely helped me a lot.
Brian, when you say they fed you well, I try really hard to feed my kid. He is the pickiest eater in the world, and if I could get him to grow and you can help me shove some protein down him, I'm all in for some suggestions. What did you like to eat growing up that got you so big?
So the answer is probably different than most you'll hear. My mom's Puerto Rican, so she fed us rice and beans. A lot of rice and beans.
Yeah.
Like rice, beans, a bunch of Puerto Rican dishes, just simple like meats, carbohydrates, probably a little high in sodium, but not a lot of oils or fats. And then a lot of dairy as well growing up, yogurts, milks. And they were super stingy about taking us to fast food. So I remember like complaining or maybe even crying sometimes from grade school, like wanting a McDouble, but we went home to eat rice and beans, but it paid off,
Right.
Once I realized like, oh crap, having a really strong body and a strong heart is going to pay off a lot for baseball, what I want to do now.
Yeah.
It's a sacrifice.
Yeah, well, but it's a good one. We've had a nutritionist on this podcast before. She'd be jumping up and down and clapping right now. Jennifer's, I'm going to have her listen to this, so she gets excited about that.
Yes, my mom, she works with babies. She's like a lactation consultant for WIC.
Oh, cool.
So she knows a lot about food, how it affects the body and everything. very grateful for that start.
Well, you get into high school. Tell me about that experience. Positions again, were you just pitching and playing shortstop there as well, or did you do other things?
Really just pitching.
Were you a
like
PO? Were you a PO in high school?
For the most part.
Okay.
Like I was 6'2" and had a decent curveball. And that's really enough for any, especially at this point, like high school or college coach. I feel like having one or two good flashes of something as a pitcher and may just commit you to that. So there's just a lot of people trying out. Sure, they'll be able to find the infield positions.
Right, I can see that. So you got a good arm, you got a curveball. When did you start throwing your curveball?
Curveball was
how old
12.
were you? About
12. I think it was John Ludke that tried to teach me one. I don't have a baseball hand here I'll show you, but his tutorial was like, grip the baseball like this and just throw it straight, which never clicked for me. I really can't remember who started teaching it to me, but I would grip it over the horseshoe just with two regular fingers, like cut the ball in half. And I'd sit there just like with my thumb flicking the baseball like this for hours. I still do it. It's like I'm sitting in a car because I keep baseball in a cup holder.
That's awesome.
But yeah, just that little flick right there. I think it was 12 though when I started throwing it in games, and it was doing really well.
Yeah, that's awesome. Okay, so the one thing that there's several things I wanted to talk to you about, but the one thing that we haven't talked to a guest about yet is the journey into JUCO baseball. We've had some D1 guys on, and they came straight into big top programs, and we talked to them about their experience. But I hear so much when I talk to coaches and about JUCO baseball and the grind, and oh my gosh, if you're playing JUCO, you have to love the game because
sure.
I don't know what it is, but we're going to find out today. But I hear things like you have to rake the field, you have to mow the field, you have to make your own meals. I don't know if all that's true, but I do know it's the resources aren't there. Tell us how you got into JUCO real quick, and then tell us a little bit about what JUCO's like, because we do have some kids on here that we'll have the opportunities to do things, and maybe they can hear that side of it from you.
Right. So graduating high school, getting to that point, didn't really have much idea of what I wanted to do afterwards, but still playing baseball, and I had a pitching coach, and one day he asked me if I'd ever thought about playing college baseball. I don't know what I said then, but time passed. He ended up setting me up with a tryout to pitch in front of Perry Keith over at Connors. So I went over there and threw a bullpen, probably winter of my senior year of high school. And went there through the bullpen, didn't throw a lot of strikes to my fastball, but I flashed a decent curveball. And then he offered me a walk-on spot there. And from that point, like I said, I didn't really know what to do. So I said, hey, it's an opportunity to play baseball, opportunity to go to college. This might work out, So I went ahead and did that. And with the thought of, trying to get a degree in the future too. But yeah, just
so Brian, when you showed up at Connors, how many were on the roster?
70, maybe 50 or 70.
Wow.
Like a football team.
Yeah, that's wild.
Yeah, first day of practice. First day of like school workout or whatever. We went up to the parking lot. I think you ran 2 miles and just had to get underneath a certain time. But it really set the tone because it was like 6 a.m. It was dark outside still. Just running 2 miles. Everyone's already sweating and miserable. First day of school. And people quit the first day.
Wow.
Yeah.
Let's go JUCO. All right. You went on from there. You went to another school, and I think when talking with you offline here, you felt maybe that was a good move for you. Tell me why you moved, what happened at your next stop, and then a little bit more about the experience, and I might ask some specifics as we get going.
Yeah. So Connors, I knew didn't have like the strength or the speed. I wasn't throwing 90s. I wasn't going to get a whole lot of opportunity there because it's a incredible program. Like there's some really good talent, really good coaches. It's awesome. I learned the mental game a lot. We had baseball classes where we talk about baseball for 2 to 3 hours a night, like after workouts, just studying the game. So I used it mostly just to learn the mental side of it because I knew I needed that to compete with the people who are really good. But after I felt like I had a decent grasp of my mentality and like what I needed to do, I kind of just needed a place where I could go work out and play baseball. So after Connors, I ended up going to Arkansas Baptist. It was a school down in Little Rock. Didn't have the best time there. The school wasn't great. They didn't put too much effort or money into their baseball program. So I kind of just write it off as a year where I just kind of worked out, went to school and got some reps, but didn't really make any significant improvements there. But the school I went to after that, definitely my favorite, JUCO, went to Allen in Iola, Kansas with Clint Stoy. I had pitched in a perfect timing summer league here in Fayetteville, and Coach Milam was a recruiter at the time. He got me up there and spent the year at Allen just working out as much as I possibly could, training as much, and taking health recovery very seriously, and just trying to live and breathe baseball and get myself as good as I could possibly get there, I guess.
And you did well, and I take it you ended up on scholarship there? Or?
Yep, at Allen I did. Before the 2 prior schools, I was never on scholarship. I was just walk-on. But like community college is cheaper than a 4-year degree, so that's how I justify it to myself that it was still a decent move. Yeah, when I got to Allen, I'd walked on there at semester because I'd gotten recruited maybe 2 weeks before school started. So I just showed up there. The coach had seen me throwing 1 bullpen, had no idea who I was. But at semester, I'd gotten put on scholarship because I just worked a lot during the season, I think. But yeah, finally got put on scholarship then.
And we'll go back to this in a little bit, but that's the whole thing. I think that, travel ball parents or travel ball kids listening, I mean, I know maybe the 8 or 9s are not, but they get a little bit older. They need to understand that it doesn't have to be, it's okay to work. It's okay to, put your work in and not have it go perfect the first time, but have resiliency and keep going and keep going. And, what do we say all the time? Baseball is a game of failure. Keep going. Right?
Yeah.
And you, to this point in your story, have just kept going. So, what happened? What was your best experience at Allen and on and off the field, maybe real quick?
Off the field, my favorite experience was probably my roommates. This is just a little more of a deep dive into the life of JUCO. The school is a community college in this town that had maybe 3,000 people in it. And the school had bought an old building across town, which across town's like a mile and a half. But they'd bought in it and it had, I think, 5 bedrooms in it and a kitchen. I think it was an office building at first. They bought it and converted it into a dormitory for baseball players. And so I lived in that house with like 5 bedrooms, 8 or 9 people. Yeah. I mean, we just lived and breathed baseball over there.
Oh,
so
man,
just
fun.
The people there were awesome. And you spend so much time around them too. Like the relationships were great. I still see a lot of those people now. Sorry, were you saying one of the worst experiences too? Or were you just wondering about the best?
I didn't say worst. I had JUCO experience. I mean, you've kind of already thrown it out there. I've been to that town before. I know Iola. Mm-hmm. I ever go back again, I'll look up your house, baseball house.
Ballard House, next to the Walmart.
Wow, that's crazy. But that's JUCO, right? How was did you guys have to do anything about keeping up the field? Did you guys ever have to work on that? Or is that just kind of rumors that's out there?
Yeah, every school's a bit different. I think the ones that get a lot of funding, they don't have to do as much field work. They'll break it down school by school. So at Connors, we had to do all the field work. So before practice, assistant coach would go rake the fields. Everyone was assigned jobs. So like you had a field crew that would get there early and water the field, rake the field. People were in charge of mowing the fields. And then one of the cool things I learned there was if it's raining really hard and you got to practice that day, like say it stopped raining, but it rained in the morning, there's standing water on the field. Well, Perry Keith, he'd pour gasoline in that water and light it on fire. And in about 30 seconds, it's all just evaporated. There's this huge smoke cloud for a little bit, and then the field's dry and you practice. We tarp the fields. If it started raining at 1 a.m., we'd go tarp the fields. So wake up, because the dorms are usually pretty close. But yeah, it was pretty much the same deal at Allen as well until we got a turf field halfway through. So that really made things a lot easier. Like, I think most kids now, they have turf fields. It's a lot easier to maintain. Like the dirt field, it takes a lot of time. And, if it rains, it takes a long time for it to dry off.
Yeah, Charlie, so maybe that's what they mean when they say you have to really want it to be a JUCO player, because I went by to watch the Razorbacks inter-squad scrimmage today. I promise you they've never gotten up at 1 a.m. to tarp the field.
Yeah.
It's like that is crazy. How did you bus to your away games? What was that?
Yeah, we bussed. It wasn't
What
it wasn't
kind
anything
of bus?
Spectacular. But
Was it a charter bus? Was it a charter bus?
So yeah, it was a charter bus.
Okay.
It was
I was afraid you had Old Yellow going down
2x2 all the way back.
Okay.
Upperclassmen would probably pick the better seats or get 2 seats. But yeah, I've never really had any complaints about the travel or anything. I mean, there's sometimes AC might go out, the bathroom's unusable. But you just adapt and overcome.
Oh, that's insane. JUCO baseball. I'm going to have to go out and watch some of that. Mad respect. The more I hear about people's stories on that, that's you're telling me firsthand. I've heard secondhand before everything people had to do, but I've never asked anybody directly.
Yeah,
I was just kidding about field work, and then you answered it.
No, we do the field work. Yeah,
that's insane.
Yeah.
But I mean, to be fair, it's
now.
such a small town though that there's not much else to do.
Yeah.
So
you're happy to go out and rake the field.
yeah, like if you make it past the fall semester to JUCO, it probably means you love baseball, you like it enough that you're willing to put up with that. And then after that, it just kind of gets more fun, I'd say. But yeah, it's just a big time commitment at JUCO because there's not much else to do. So they can keep you really as late as they want or as early, because in NCAA, there's practice rules. You can only practice a certain amount during the off season, during the season, certain days off. But in JUCO, I mean, at Allen, as pitchers, we didn't take a day off from the time we showed up to the time we left. The only reason we did was because COVID happened. But if it wasn't because of that, I would have thrown every single day.
Okay, well that's crazy. You went on later. You went to Missouri Southern to finish out your degree. It's a Division II 4-year school. I'm familiar with that myself. Haven't gone there myself. Nice program. You finished that up. One of the things I wanted to ask you about is your experience in the Appalachian League.
Oh yeah.
Tell us a little bit about what that is for the listeners. I'd heard of it, not in detail, but I'd heard of it. Tell us what that league is, where it's at, who you played for, and what that experience was like.
Yes, Appalachian League is a draft league. It's up in West Virginia, Tennessee, North Carolina, around the Appalachian Mountain Range. But it started off, I think, in 2021. It was its first year, which was just at the tail end of COVID. So Major League Baseball had lost a lot of money that year. I think they wanted to sell off some teams maybe, but I don't know all the technical details. Basically, 10 minor league baseball teams got converted into collegiate summer league teams. And Team USA and Major League Baseball teamed up to sponsor that. And so they, filled up teams with players. Each 10 teams, you go and stay at your team's hotel for 2.5, 3 months, however long the season ended up being. But you go around, play baseball 5-6 days a week. I think we played 3 games home, traveled, 3 games away, traveled, and just did that all summer long. So it was like a real professional level. I mean, all the teams managers were former professionals, like the buses, the uniforms, the staff, trainers, and everything was really professionally done. Yeah, I got involved with that, getting out of JUCO, out of Allen. The manager had called me and they were looking for more pitchers because they were like halfway through the season and had a lot of injuries. And so that's when I got the call, probably like halfway through the summer, that 2021, I want to say.
And
so
you
at that
played...
point, you're done with your JUCO eligibility.
Yep.
Right? Yeah.
Yeah.
And is that where you hooked up with Missouri Southern coming out of the summer league?
No, I actually met Missouri Southern during the spring when I was at Allen.
Oh, okay.
My pitching coach at Southern was Drew Noble at the time, and he had played at Southern. He did really well when he played there too, but he came to be pitching coach at Allen, and yeah, Missouri Southern. He came out to watch me pitch one game. I think it was against Labette Community College up in Kansas. But yeah, that's how I met them. Probably halfway through the spring season. But I remember that was pretty nerve-wracking trying to find a four-year school while in JUCO, because that's the whole reason you go to JUCO, to find that four-year school. So that can be a pretty stressful part of it.
Right.
Just 2 minutes on that, Brian. Sure. What's the process on that? Are coaches out on your behalf, or are they sending in questionnaires? Are you taking it under your belt and talking to schools? What would be the advice for somebody out there that's saying, I might run into that too, or my kid might? How do you go about? What's the best way to get to be found?
So there's no set in stone process of how the JUCO to NCAA recruiting works. Up to every single school is different. Some coaches or some schools might not have the coaching staff to spend the time looking for schools for kids. Like, you might just go there and play baseball and have to do it all on your own. Well, other schools might do a really good job of it, like take the JUCO to showcases where they're specifically for finding those schools. Like at Allen, they do one of those every year where a bunch of JUCOs go and play in front of NCAA scouts or four-year scouts. Other ones, though, you just have to hope that the other team has somebody good enough that where scouts coming to watch them, and you might do good enough that game. Like, it's really hit or miss. Like, at the end of the day, I don't think there's a surefire way to find a good school, but word of mouth, baseball really operates under word of mouth. So just people knowing people and talking to people, I think, is how a lot of it ends up working out and shaking down. Twitter too, that's been a good one. I think Twitter was like half the reason I ended up going to the Appalachian League, because I had a video of me pitching on there, and originally, like when the owner had called me, it was because he brought up that Twitter video. So coaches do look at Twitter, I know that, and they listen to other baseball coaches. But I think doing a lot of good research on the school before going there would be good. Like if a kid's trying to go JUCO, do a lot of good research on the school and see if they do have a process for getting kids out. Because some kids might be just throwing 95, 96, 97 and not need to do much work on their own to get somewhere else. But somebody who's stacks up more average, they definitely have to work harder at that and be able to find a good school that develops and really prioritizes getting the kids moved on. Because some schools might just want to win.
Yeah, right. That sounds like travel ball, Charlie. Some teams just want to win; they really don't care about the big picture. Yes. You've said two things here that I want to go back to real quick. One, at you played for the Princeton Whistle Pigs, which is an outstanding name. Did they do any do you have a memory of their promotions or anything, experience off the field that might be fun to hear?
The team mascot was a person in a groundhog costume, like one of those, like you get the Razorback games, it's somebody wearing the Razorback costume. Mm-hmm. Yeah, well, there was a groundhog. I mean, you can go Google pictures of it. It looks like a Chuck E. Cheese costume. It's pretty funny. But
weren't you the Whistle Pigs?
Yeah, Whistle Pig is a groundhog.
Yeah.
Okay, see, I don't even know.
Okay, I didn't know either.
It's like the country name for a groundhog.
Yeah, I guess it's
like
a thing.
like a trash panda, like trash panda is a reference.
Exactly.
To, okay.
Yeah, so it's the Whistle Pigs, it's a groundhog, but that was a fun one. And we have fireworks on Sundays too. And so there'd be a ton of kids out there at the ballpark, like wanting autographs and families. It was just awesome baseball.
It's a neat experience. Yeah.
Oh, yeah. A lot of fun.
Yeah. Well, you just said something a minute ago, which I wanted to get to. If I don't write it down and ask you, we'll get through, and I won't. You said coaches do pay attention to Twitter. We can translate that to all social media. I know with our kids, they got their phones. They're 12. Some of them have Instagram. Some of them are, it depends. They're starting to get there. But what a great time to say, hey, kids, people watch that, right? So
yeah.
What's your take on social media again? Emphasis to the player who's just now getting into social media and how they should take care of that presence and what it means.
Yeah, I guess in the way of recruiting, posting highlight videos I think is good. Just like videos of your stuff. I think maybe videos of your training as well, so coaches know, like, all right, this kid, he might have tools, but he also trains for them too. Yeah, like watch what you post too. I mean, coaches are looking at it. They might see something that they don't like, or they might see something that maybe makes them think that you wouldn't be a good fit for their team. It's really easy to be written off. Like one little tiny thing,
Yeah, for sure. I mean, I'm glad. I'm glad it wasn't around when I was at an impressionable age. Just really happy I did not experience that. We've talked about how your mom was feeding you. You just mentioned putting in your work, letting coaches know that you're not afraid to work. My next question was, when should a kid start working on their body? And we got kids here that are, 7, 8, listen to this, that the parents have kids that are 7 to 8 up to, 14, 15 years old. When do you think that, I'm talking, you start doing your, your push-ups, your pull-ups, your jumps, your weights, whatever, outside of baseball movements, when should a kid start working on their bodies, you think?
Like in terms of like lifting weights, getting stronger, I think 14, 15 is a decent age to get started. I remember I started doing like kettlebell swings, medicine ball stuff for baseball. I was probably 12 or 13.
Yep.
But it didn't touch like an actual barbell until junior high football. That was 8th grade for me. I want to say I was 15 at the time. 14 or 15. Yeah, at that age, if you're eating right and exercising, you can really get strong quick because your body's like, you're already going through puberty at that age.
Yeah.
So you're primed to get stronger, doing a lot at that age. Then just building good habits, I think, from a young age is good too. Like, not getting too comfortable eating McDonald's every day, sort of thing. Pick good things to eat, like good carbs, proteins, get vitamins and minerals. Just getting good eating habits and staying active from a really young age would help too. Because that's something like, you don't have to wait for a certain age to start eating good. And that way, like once you get to the point where you're 14, 15, 16, you really start hitting the weights hard, you've got a good foundation.
Yeah.
On the baseball physical side of it, as a pitcher, which you were, arm care and youth sports, and travel ball especially. I mean, I know you're just, and we'll get to it in a little bit, but you're starting to jump back into this and see what the kids are doing now.
Yeah.
But you've probably heard the stories, or maybe you experienced them even back then. The kids are pitching too much, and coaches aren't necessarily watching the pitch count, those kind of things. Your thoughts on arm care? And what I'm getting at is we can go pitch counts that specific, but more along the lines of, as you're growing up, 9, 10, 11, 12, how would you treat your arm year-round throwing? And it doesn't have to be, I'm not saying, off the mound, because we know you're supposed to have breaks from that. But are you, I guess I'll put it like this. Are you a believer of year-round throwing,
Uh, yes. If the throwing's correct and it's not leading to any injury, then definitely. Because then your body's more familiar with like the mound or your pitching motion. So I'm all for you training year round as long as like you're not hurt. Because if you're trying to train through injuries all the time, then it really defeats the purpose of training year round. But arm care wasn't a super big deal whenever I was a kid growing up. I mean, I didn't use bands until I was maybe in high school. I didn't know what a band was. And now I think kids are starting to use bands at like 8 or 9 years old. So I think that's
right.
awesome. I think in college you learned a lot about arm care and started to learn a lot about it as a pitcher, especially. And it's something great to do because it really helps your body recover quicker and feel better. Like a lot of pitchers, especially, and just kids in general, baseball players, like their bicep will start to get sore or start to feel like a sharp pain in their bicep or their shoulder or their elbow. But doing a lot of recovery exercises, kind of like telling your body how to move correctly again, get some more blood flow to those areas. So it's going to help it heal quicker. So it's great for recovery. But on top of that, sleeping good and eating good too, if you really want to get the most out of that arm care.
Outside of the bands, what's one quick exercise that would be considered good to do?
I think pull-ups and push-ups. Pull-ups are definitely the best arm care exercise, in my opinion. It's a compound move almost, like you're using your entire body to pull yourself up. It's difficult. And you're using your arms, taking them through their full range of motion, which is, I think, a big part of recovery, taking your body through its full range of motion to get it working right again. But pull-ups for sure. Like you can hang on a pull-up bar, do pull-ups, paused, weighted pull-ups. It's endless, but pull-ups, I think, could be the best.
Okay, so we're going to stay in the, 8 to 12 range right now. Okay, Brian.
Okay.
Physically, they've all got things to work on. I don't care how much they've been playing. Mentally, oh my God. Charlie, help me out here.
The basket cases.
Sometimes they can all just be basket cases. You just hope they all aren't on the same game, which has happened on our team before. But no, it's a tough game, right, Ryan? It's a tough sport. Yeah. They've got parents. They think they're going to not please their parents. They got friends on the other teams half the time. They've got the coaches yapping at them. Grandma showed up that week. Yeah. They're hyperventilating, and oh my God, they're up with 2 outs in the last inning. And what are we going to do here? How are we going to handle that? You were pretty tough to get through the way you did, and you kind of went your own route. Had to be mentally tough to do that. So how would you tell a 9, 10, 11, 12-year-old how to handle themselves mentally with pressure and failure? Do you have any thoughts on that?
Yourself in the situations that make you uncomfortable more often. Just get more comfortable in those situations, I think. Like, it was definitely more nerve-wracking going from JUCO to like Princeton or Missouri Southern, playing in front of either hundreds of people, plug in my iPad, and then going up to like thousands of people. But playing in front of people got a lot easier as JUCO went on, because it started off just the fall. Playing in front of literally nobody to playing in front of people. But whatever the situation is, like if a player just has real trouble hitting like a 3-2 pitch or something, just get into that situation more, put yourself in a position to be able to overcome that, just to build that confidence that you can do it in the future.
I think that's the great thing about travel ball too, because you play so many more games. You get so many more reps. You get used to being in those pressure situations.
Mm-hmm.
That's a great thing about it.
I think that's a great point. Like travel ball, you get so many reps.
Mm-hmm.
You get to play so much baseball. Like if I could go back, if I wanted to be like the best baseball player ever, hindsight's always 2020.
Mm-hmm.
But if I could do it again, I would have tried to make like more of those diving plays when I was a kid. Try to make more of those like backhand Jeter throws.
Mm-hmm.
Make the mistakes on those types of plays as a young kid. So hopefully build confidence that you can do it in college. Because once you get to college, like if you do that play in practice and miss it, you're running poles.
Right.
You know, you don't get to practice it anymore.
Yeah.
But if you get to college and you do that play, like you're going to the show.
Mm-hmm.
So just building up that like insane confidence at a young age is great because you get so much opportunity, so many games.
Yeah.
Outside of the games, Brian, what would you suggest for putting them in similar situations in practice? Practice and games aren't even close to being the same. We've tried everything, believe me, loud music, hopping and hooping and hollering. That we've tried it all to try to put pressure on them, or consequence or rewards. We've tried everything, but and maybe we haven't even done it wrong. I don't know, but. How would you apply pressure to kids in practice so that the games do become, like you said, they've been there, it's a little easier, they're not quite as tense?
That's a good question, and I'm sure there's
if there was a good
people
answer,
that want the answer for it right now.
if you have a good answer, you're gonna make lots of money after this.
That's what I was thinking, but I can't think of anything specifically. But I think if you're practicing more than you play, then you end up focusing more on the practice side of it and those results rather than the in-game results. I just think just practicing relentlessly, frequently, like it's when you're putting a ton of time into something, you obviously want to do good at it, and the better you're going to get at it. So. I think for me, practicing more frequently made me more intense about it because I guess just had more on the line, maybe like time invested into it, a desire to do good. I don't know. That's my 2 cents.
When you were a kid, Brian, did you respond better to carrots or sticks and for mistakes in practice? Sometimes what I'm getting at, sometimes we reward, like we do the reward thing. Hey, the top one or two in this, you get it or whatever.
Right.
Hey, you make a mistake. You go over there and ring a bell. I've done this before. It's horrible. Ring a bell and let everybody know you just made a mistake. I mean, we've tried to put pressure on them from all different angles. And listen, from a loving way, I love my kids, I get it. But we've just tried everything so that in the games, they have less pressure,
Yeah.
I don't know, stick. I probably needed a stick growing up.
I think it's different for different kids. Yeah, I think you have to approach each kid differently.
My kid's not a stick kid. I tell you
No,
right
mine
now.
either. Yeah, he's a carrot kid.
And he will shut his mouth and work hard all day long if you just tell him, something that you need him to do it and you're proud of him. That will take him all day long. If I try to beat my son down, which it took me 10 years out of his 12 years of life to figure it out.
Some kids are just real hard on themselves. They don't need somebody else to be that hard on them. They just need somebody to kind of keep them on the lanes.
Yeah. All interesting questions. And you're going to find out dipping your toe into coaching a little bit. And you're going to start working with the team this year, Brian. So you're going to get to find out about child psychology here.
Yeah.
Real fast.
It's exciting.
So what age group are you working with? And tell me what you're doing with them.
I mean, I've actually been coaching a bit longer. So I've been doing lessons for probably 4 or 5 years now. Started off just I think the first person I ever started doing lessons with was some 8 or 9 year old kid that lived in an apartment near where I lived with the baseball team in college, and we just play catch over there. I started doing with prospects though, 2020. Coached a 13U team, a 13U AA team with them. Went off to college, finished playing. So now I'm back, just doing pitching lessons. And I'm also helping out with the team. It's a 9U team here, AAA, I believe. It's called Show Up, Show Out. SUSO baseball. So I'm coaching them, doing pitching lessons at prospects, and probably just going to keep it at that for now and do camps as well. That's my goal, just camps to get a lot of pitchers to come in and learn and get a lot of reps in, and just I think that's how to get better.
Yeah.
So,
it's a good area for it. There's a lot of baseball in this area, I think.
yeah.
There should be plenty of kids looking for lessons.
Yeah, it's incredible. Like some of the other towns here in Arkansas, like the smaller ones, there's maybe like one or two pitching coaches, maybe.
Mm-hmm.
And it's just somebody who's really just donating their time.
Mm-hmm.
They're not doing it like for a living, which I'm not right now, but there's people here who are, and they can because there's the number of people that want those lessons.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it's incredible. It's an incredible area to be in for being a baseball parent right now.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's insane. So what is what's your approach with the pitchers that you work with, mentally and physically? How do you divide that up? I mean, obviously they need to do things mechanically, but there's a mental side of pitching, man. Talk about being tough. You got to be a dude that's tough on the mound, right? Tell me about how you work with your players and relay what you've done to them.
Yeah, I think the biggest things I like to teach pitchers are like what their role is on the baseball field, which is they control the tempo, they have to control their pitch. It's just a lot of control, really. Pitching is a lot of control. So they need to be able to throw the ball where they want to, when they want it to, and be able to just keep a level head while doing it. But a lot of the stuff we work on is control related. I'm a firm believer that to train a pitcher's control, the best way to do it is by throwing to a static object. So instead of a catcher's mitt that moves, throw to a fixed object like a ball in a tee. Yeah. Train your body how to adjust, how to hit a specific spot.
Okay, Brian, I got to cut you off. Because here's the deal. Yeah, for those just listening, I just dropped my pen and raised my arms. So this is so true. So at about 10, I was like, come on, guys, we got to pitch better. And so I've told the story when I was a kid. I had, I don't know, maybe only like 6 or 7 baseballs. I didn't have any. My sister was gone. So I didn't have any brothers. I threw to a tree.
Yeah. Oh.
It was a tree with a nice sized trunk, and I marked it off, and I threw to a tree. And I've told our kids static things because the parents never fails. Love all my parents. Some of the past were even. But they'll come. Oh, look, Johnny was throwing 65 and 80% strikes, and it's like, did you catch him? And then they go, and it's like, no, it's like 40% strikeouts.
Right.
But static targets don't lie.
No, they don't.
And I think when you learn to throw to something that doesn't move and learn to then do it harder and harder and more athletic, I just got real excited when you said it because I'm a huge believer of it. And we actually built our kids some static nets out of PCV pipe and netting to throw into because that was a more accurate target than Dad saying, "Hey, he threw 85% this week and it's bullpen down," and he wasn't. And well, it wasn't his fault. It looked like it. He wasn't. The parent wasn't trying to lie or anything like that. So I'm sorry, I didn't mean to interrupt. You were on such a good roll.
No, it's great meeting more people with that same attitude.
So static. I'm sorry. Go back to where you were.
Yeah, those static targets. Huge believer in that. Like as a pitcher, you got to take responsibility for where that ball goes. I can't blame the catcher or the umpire or anybody at the end of the day. So that's one of the big things I teach. Use a lot of static targets. And then one of the other things, I try to take a lot of the stuff I learned in college and on like the really high level pitching stuff and try to just teach it to them as best I can. Like implementing some of the drills I even do in college with the equipment, like a little 2-pound medicine ball, probably that big. You can throw it pretty fast. You get to practice moving your body fast without necessarily putting a lot of wear and tear on your arm. Want to practice moving fast, understand where their body is in their motion, so have a good feel for their body. And then another one of the really big ones is pitch selection, like picking which pitches to throw when and why, and how to think through that and because every pitcher's different. Their ball spins different. But yeah, choosing what pitches to throw when based off of, what happened the last pitch or what you want to happen, that type of stuff. Which
what
takes
ages
a while,
are they? What age do you think they start grabbing those concepts? Because the 9-year-olds don't. So
Yeah.
when do you think pitchers really start to grasp that? And they're all going to be different because Charlie's son, he's IQ's through the roof. Some others aren't.
Yeah.
So.
I've got one kid who's 11, and he understands it pretty well, I think.
Okay.
Because he throws two seams, change-ups, and curveballs. And we'll talk about why it's good to throw a low and in two seam and a low and in change-up back to back. So yeah, I think 11. I might have a 9-year-old that understands it too. But
I think a lot of it is whether or not the kid actually watches baseball. And so, with our son, we're sitting there watching it on TV, or we're going to the Razorback games, or we're even going to high school games, and we're talking about the decisions that are being made on the field, so that he understands that stuff.
Yeah.
And playing video games too, MLB The Show.
Oh yeah. Yeah, that's great. Yeah. Really, breaking down to a practice level, you can slow the game down so much and try to make decisions like that.
Oh yeah, for sure.
Yeah, The Show. I tell you, I try to play The Show with my son. I can't win because I'm not good at video games, but I could see that actually playing a part because sometimes, we outthink each other on a pitch or something. You can see his wheels are turning, and I don't know. I guess that's the whole point, though, is just to be thinking about it, right? And having experiences. Well, that didn't work too well last time.
Yeah.
That kind of thing. Working with kids, what's the one thing that you want them to learn the most from your experience?
And if you're serious about baseball, or if you want it bad enough, anybody can take baseball as far as they want to. They just have to commit from a young age, but the opportunity's there that, if you really want to put in the work and commit the time to it, you can definitely do a lot with baseball and take as far as you want to go, whether it's playing professionally or just turning into a coach or something. If you love baseball, you can stay around it your whole life. You never have to actually part from the game. You stop playing it, but everyone starts coaches eventually.
And you said you're doing some umpiring too?
Yeah, I haven't done any this year yet, but I've done it at Mount Kessler and some U-Trip here and there. Very few U-Trip, but yeah, mostly just FYB over at Kessler.
That's cool.
It's fun. I like the kids over there. They're just having a lot of fun. Parents have a blast too.
Where were you heckled the most at? Kessler as an umpire or the Appalachian League as a player?
Really close. It's 50-50. Appy League, there was a game where there's probably 2,000 so people there, and this one diehard fan who'd been going to those games the last 30 years, and he was just chirping the entire time I was out there. I could hear nothing but him. And so at that point I was like, all right, I can't try to block this guy out. I just have to listen to it. So I was up there on the mounds, getting ready to pitch, laughing at his jokes, trying to make the best of it. And then at Kessler, some of those parents just go berserk.
Yeah.
It's a 7-year-old that it's a 7-year-old. It's a rec league baseball game, and they'll go crazy after a ball 4. And so you just got to stay focused, keep it about the kids. That's what I try to do.
Everybody
just make it about the kids.
Yeah.
Try to make the experience good for them, then it'll be all right.
Yeah, totally. Well, we appreciate the umpires for sure.
Yeah, we got to thank our umpires more.
Yeah.
They go through a lot.
100%.
Especially men's league.
I have no problem, if the tournament directors around wherever we play had a quicker hook on letting the umpires kick parents out, because there's just no need for it, and they're out there sweating in 100-degree temperatures, and we need them.
It's hard too. It's tough to umpire for sure. And I can't
Yeah.
imagine umpiring men's league. That must be.
Oh, I feel bad. And I play men's league now. And last summer, there was a fight. Like 4 people got fined, people got ejected, and it's like that every weekend in men's league. It gets pretty intense.
I bet.
And those umpires, it's the same ones like every week. So you build relationships with them, and
Yeah.
oh man, I feel bad. Some of them, they're really trying out there, and some people
It's
just
tough.
give them a run for their money.
Yeah, I bet.
Well,
Cool.
Brian, yeah, go ahead, Charlie.
No, I was just gonna say that's cool. Yeah, I've been out to some of those men's league, and I can imagine
Oh
it's
yeah,
pretty intimidating out there with some of the teams.
yeah. It's a lot of fun though. I mean, it's full on baseball for
Oh yeah.
washed up baseball players.
Well, I just thank you for stopping by. I mean, the one thing the theme that I get from your life, I think I think it stands out probably if people listen to this, is that you have resiliency and you had a want to. And man, if you do those things and now you're able to go back and full circle it and teach, the kids that you're coaching, what a great way to give back the game. You played, listen, you made it percentage wise. I don't care, in MLB or D1 or whatever, you played college baseball and you finished your degree playing college baseball and played some summer leagues. You're in a very select company, and I hope you know that. I think you probably do, but you did that not the traditional path. Came to travel ball a little later than most people. Worked hard, ate right, thanks to your mom. Thank God she likes rice and beans. And you took care of your body, and you worked hard. You didn't complain about getting up at 1 a.m. to do tarps or any other the JUCO stuff. And now you've got a great experience and a story to share, which you did today. And now you're able to give a little bit of that back every time you coach a kid. I mean, that's got to feel good, man. I mean, congratulations, Yeah.
It's so much fun.
What I take away from it is like the way you talked about really enjoying every aspect of the experience of being part of baseball. And that's important for the kids to hear too.
I think
you have to enjoy
is.
the practice, the grind. Not that it's a grind, but you have to enjoy all of it.
Well, I think you can enjoy a grind, though.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah, especially when you're around people, around other people you like. I remember those moments better than the games I played.
Yeah, I think that the grind is not so bad. I think we lost Charlie. There she is.
Sorry, it got really dark in here.
It's okay. I don't think a grind is something you dislike. I think you learn to want the grind if it's something you love and it's a goal for you and it's taking you somewhere. The grind for me today is trying to exercise and lose weight at 50, whatever I am, and I don't want to do it. I mean, if playing ball in high school growing up, I wanted to do it.
But let me ask you this, David. Do you think coaching the Dodgers is a grind? You have to. It has to be.
I'll be honest with you, for coaches listening. I'll tell you when it has been a grind is when I let it become. I took on more accountability and responsibility in my own head for results on the field than I should have.
Yeah.
And I didn't. Maybe I felt emotionally like I let the kids down or I let the parents down. We should have been a different level by now. This kid should have been a little better by now. And I think if you do that, it can feel like a grind at times. And then there's the great moments. But I'm done with all that because now we've told our kids. I asked them a question, Brian, this year, and I said, "How many wants to play high school baseball?" They all raised their hand. Yeah. And then we said, "Well, I'm going to treat you now like you're a high school coach, and I'm preparing you like you're getting ready for high school. So, guess what? You have to do self-development. I can't do it for you anymore.
Yeah.
Like here's a list of things to do, and you go do them, and you be accountable to your teammates. And we had the thing we did." And now it's on them. So now that I've kind of feel like I've drugged them from a really bad 9U team to a really awesome AA team to an okay AAA team, now it's like I don't feel like I have that pressure anymore. I don't think it. I don't. Awesome. It hasn't been a grind at all since I flipped that switch and said, I'm just going to treat you like a high school coach. If you cry or throw your helmet, I'm just not going to play you. And oh, by the way, if you don't do your work, you're probably not going to play either. So if you guys want to be there, I will show you what to do, but you guys got to do it on your own. It's been a game changer.
Oh,
Can
awesome.
it be a grind?
Mhm.
Yeah, coaches don't let results wear you down, or there's too many good things you can get out of it, And hopefully
Mhm.
everybody understands that
Absolutely.
process is superior to results if you're doing the right things.
Yeah,
Yeah.
absolutely.
Amen to that.
Yeah. Wow, where'd that come from, Charlie? I wasn't expecting that
Yeah,
question.
I don't think, I think that some coaches could consider it a grind as far as like making the schedule, planning the practices, especially if you try to do a good job. But that's the stuff we love to do,
Oh,
right?
I love all that stuff.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, the daily stuff. I mean,
We'd rather do that than our jobs, right?
Oh man, yeah, for sure, yeah, all day, and I love all that stuff. No, I just emotionally, it was a grind at times when things weren't going well, but that was a burden I put on myself, and no parents put that on me. I did that myself.
No, we do have great parents. We're lucky.
Our parents are awesome, and they've always said you're doing a great job. But I took the weight of that home, and I'm done with that. And I'm excited to watch them play this year. To be honest.
Yeah.
With you.
Yeah, hopefully I can come see y'all play sometime. You guys, I'm sure, playing locally, so.
Well,
yeah, we play a lot locally.
Yeah.
Yeah, so we'll try to see you out there. You try to see us. I would I would like for you to come and talk to our team as well, and give them a, hey, this is what you got to do. You said you wanted to do it. These are the things you got to do, and especially the mental attitude. And so we'll have you do that. We'll talk.
Sure.
About that.
Yeah, I'd be happy
podcast.
to. Happy to help out.
Fix all our pitching too while you're at it.
That's maybe it's all order.
It will be.
That's right. Oh man. Well, I think this is great. It sure showed a whole different side of some of the other guests that we've had, and there's a lot of different ways to be successful in baseball. And boy, going down this journey with you tonight's been a lot of fun. So yeah. Thanks again, Brian. We might have to do this again. I really enjoyed you on here, and for everybody listening out there, we'll see you at the ballpark.
Yeah, thanks a lot for having me on, guys.